Hello everyone, I'm Paul and today we're solving problem 756, Pyramid Transition Matrix. This is medium and next I will show you my intuition, approach and efficient solution. This is a nice description, you can read this if you want. But basically we're given the bottom of a pyramid, so let's say that we are given BCD. And our job is to check if we can build a full pyramid. If we can do this, we return true, else we return false. Now we are given an array allowed where each element corresponds to blocks that we can use on top of bottom. For example, if we are given BCC, this means that we can place a block C above two blocks B and C. B has to be in the bottom left corner and C has to be in the bottom right corner. So this element means that we can put a C right here. If we are given this, it means that we can put an E above C and D. And if we're given this, it means that we can put A above C and E. So here we have the necessary blocks to build a full pyramid. Given that we can build the pyramid all the way to the top, we return true in this case. And as you can see, we don't even need to use this block. We build our pyramid with these three elements. As you can guess, we can have multiple scenarios. Let's say that this is bottom, we have BC, BC in bottom, and these are some of the elements in allowed. We have BCA and BCD. This means that here we could put either A or D. And similarly, here we could use either A or D. So we are trying to reach the top of this pyramid. The question is, how can we solve this? Well, the key observation here is in the constraints. We know that bottom.length is smaller or equal to 6. And we know that we can have only 6 letters as a maximum. This means that we can explore every different scenario. Let's say that here we have many strings starting with BC. Well, we can explore the scenario in which we use BCA and then the scenario with BCD and then the scenario with BCE and so on. Now let's say that we have a few more strings. We can use this to put an A up here. We can use BCD to put a D here. We can put an A here in between C and B. And then we have D, A, E. In this row, we don't find any combination of D and A, where D is in the left and A is in the right. This means that we can't use this block in this row. So at this point, we should backtrack. So what we can do instead is use this here, so this is D. Then we use this here, so this is A. Then we use this here, so this is A. And now we have D, A, E. And here we have D, A. This means that we can put an E here and continue with the next element. And at this point, our new bottom row is this one. We don't care about this anymore. We are looking at this. So for each block, we can have up to 6 different characters if we have the required elements in allowed. So here we can have up to 6 possible different scenarios. Here we can have 6 more scenarios. Here we can have 6 more scenarios. So just in this row, we can have 6 to the power of 3 possible scenarios. Here we can have 6 to the power of 2 possible scenarios. And here we can have 6 to the power of 1 possible scenarios. So time complexity here is roughly 6 to the power of n, where n is the length of bottom. And given that n is smaller or equal to 6, 6 to the power of 6 is a number that we can handle. So this is the time complexity for this approach. Remember that we are using backtracking here and we are trying to reach the top of the triangle. So how do we know if we have a successful base case? Well, we can just check if the length of bottom is exactly 1, here we return 1. And remember that we are taking different bottoms every time. When we end with this row, now the next bottom is this one. Then this is the next bottom, then this is the next bottom. Now, what if we try every possible scenario with this block and every possible scenario with these two blocks and none of this returns true? Well, here we have a non-successful base case. We will have an I pointer to keep track of the last pair of blocks, and from this we are exploring every possible scenario for the next row. So we will update the I pointer until we reach the end of the current row. Now when we reach the end, we are checking if we have already seen this row, because if we have, this means that we have never found the result. We have never found this successful case. So if we reach the end of the current row and we have already seen this row, we return false. So if we have already seen a row, we return false. So this is it for the approach. I know this might be tricky if it's the first time you are seeing backtracking, but I recommend you to take this step by step. Now with this in mind, let's go with the code and hopefully you will get the idea. First, n is the length of bottom. And remember that we can have repeated pairs of blocks, so we need a way to know which blocks can we put on top of these pairs. For this we can use a map. This is a default dictionary with a default value of an empty array. And now for A, B, and C in allowed, we say map at A plus B dot append C. Here this is a unique key. Remember that block A is in the bottom left corner and block B is in the bottom right corner. Now we need a set to keep track of the rows that we have already seen, because remember that whenever we see a row that we have already seen, we return false. And now we can build our backtracking function. This takes 3 arguments: bottom, row, and the current index, and n is the length of bottom every time. Our first best case is if n is equal to 1, we just return true. And if it's not equal to 1, we are checking if I is equal to n. We are checking if we have already seen this row, meaning if row is seen, we just return false right away. Else, we add to seen the current row and return a recursive call to this function bt, and now the bottom is the current row, the new row is an empty string, and we always start from index number 1 because we are considering pairs with the current character and the previous character every time. So we start from index 1. Now the current pair every time is bottom I minus 1 plus bottom I. Sorry, this is pair. And now with this we can iterate our map. So for current in map at pair, we say if bt with bottom and row plus the current character and the next index is true, we can just return true right away. Because if this is true, this means that we found a scenario in which n is equal to 1. So at this point we need to return true. Else, if we reach the end of this loop and never return true, we return false. And finally, we can return bt bottom. Here we have an empty string initially for the current row, and we always start from index 1. So this is the entire code. Now let's submit this. As you can see, this works and it's very efficient. So if you found this useful, please drop a like, subscribe, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.